Everyone, welcome to the live stream. Just want to make sure that you can hear me okay and see everything. Want to make sure that you download your workbook as well. I'll just pop this up here. So you can find your workbook at servant.tools/workbook. Pretty simple. So I'm using some new software today to do this live stream. So let me know if anything isn't working for you, because I'm still kind of learning it. But I'm excited to be here, and let's kick things off. So I'm just going to share my screen again, and perfect. So today we are going to actually clarify your purpose. We're going to find your purpose. I'm going to give you the simple framework, 3-step framework that we've been using for 19 years now, and have helped thousands of people with this framework to find their purpose. And in that, we're going to break down the core lies that come against you as you are trying to fulfill your purpose, and the core lies around purpose, so that you can make sure that you have and know exactly what purpose is. And then lastly, I want to give you the steps and give you access to the full process that is going to help you, once you understand why you're here, then fulfill it in everything that you do, so that you can serve everywhere that you are and fulfill that purpose in the lives of those that you serve every day, that you love and care for every day, both personally and professionally. So everything that I'm going to teach you today applies to you, applies to your family, because your family has a purpose, your company, your community, and even our countries. So over the years, as I shared, we've helped thousands of people. We've helped families and companies and community, a few communities. We haven't done a country yet. So if you are leading a country and you want to know your purpose, happy to help you do that. And again, 19 years of experience working with many, many people to be able to help them fulfill their purpose. So I want to introduce you to my wife. So this is my wife and I, we are co-founders of Servant Development. So everything that we have, all the wisdom that we've learned over the years in terms of helping others fulfill their purpose, we've been teaching that together. And again, we focus on individuals. We have frameworks for companies. We have frameworks for your marriage. And we have new frameworks coming out all the time to actually help you understand, well, how do you actually fulfill your purpose in all the different areas of life, both personally and professionally. Awesome. So I'm just going to jump in right here. And I want to share with you the first core lie that we have all been taught. And that lie has actually confused us in terms of what purpose is and actually how to go about fulfilling it. So the very first thing that we've been taught is this, that our purpose is what we do. You've heard that. We've all been in conversations. We've all gone, to parties and chatting with people, and they say, what do you do? And we've wrongfully aligned that question with our purpose. Our purpose is not what you do. Your purpose, here's the truth, your purpose is actually why you're here. Your purpose is why you're here, not what you do. Now, the key thing in that is that what you do has to align with why you're here, or you're definitely going to be devalued in those relationships, in those moments when you're trying to articulate and communicate, what you do and why that other person should listen to you. Here's an interesting fact. I think it was Harvard that did it. It was years ago that I read it, and it said that we only give each other 2 seconds to build trust with. 2 seconds. Sometimes if you're gracious to the other person, you might give 8 to 10 seconds, but that was the study. And we need to be able to communicate why we're in that other person's life, why we can help them, and how we can help them, all in a matter of 2 seconds. So I want to teach you how to do that today. Actually, the framework that I'm going to give you is going to help you understand why you're here. And then you're going to be able to share that with others in those situations. And immediately you're going to know, they're going to know exactly where you can help them, and if they don't want your help. So it's going to save you a lot of heartache jumping into distractions and jumping into places trying to convince people that you can help them, that they need your help, that they need help. This is going to actually enable you to be able to communicate very, very clearly why you're here and why you're in the lives of those that you love and care for, so that they know exactly when and where to come to. All right, awesome. So here's the next piece. here's the next question I want you to answer. And feel free to write your answer in the chat. I'm monitoring that as we go along. So how many needs would you say that you meet in a day? How many needs? 1, 5, 10, 20, 100? Realistically, how many needs do you think you meet in a day? Just take a minute, pop it in the chat. Awesome. So here's the lie. The lie is that we feel that we have to meet many needs for people, right? All of us, the people that we love, the people that we care for, the people that we serve on a daily basis, be it personally or professionally, we feel that we have to meet many needs for them. And as we do so, we feel like our value goes up, or they're going to understand our value, or we're adding, significant amount of value. But that causes a ton of confusion and a ton of failure, because the truth is we can't meet many needs. It's impossible. And I know you know that, because all of us hit our head against the wall and run into that brick wall when we try to do too much for somebody, because we realize, I'm really good at this one thing, but I can kind of do these other things and help you with these other things. But ideally, this is the one place that I can actually help you. And that is actually the truth. You meet one need. You meet one need. One need that shows up in many different ways. So once we're going to uncover what that one need is for you today. And once we uncover that, what you're going to realize is, wow, that need shows up in so many different ways. And you're going to be able to see it and recognize it in everyone that you interact with. And you'll start to see the subtle nuances in how it shows up and how it demonstrates in other people, because we're all different, right? Each of us are different, but the needs that we have are very, very similar. And so those needs show up differently in different people, but it's the exact same need. Okay. So we are going to uncover what that one need is for you today, because that's the foundation of one of the core pieces of your purpose and what it rests on. So we're going to uncover that in this framework today. Next, how would you describe yourself? 2 to 3 things. How would you describe yourself? So, and again, feel free to drop that into the chat. Here's how I would describe myself. I'm very creative. I'm very resourceful. I have an ability to teach. Those are 2 or 3 things about me. What 2 or 3 things would you use to describe yourself? Just make a note of that. And if you want to pop that into the chat, feel free to do so we can chat about it as we go along. And it's also be cool to see, how everyone describes themselves as we go through this exercise. So here's one of the key things that I need you to know about this. It's awesome to be able to have language to be able to describe yourself. I mean, we all need to be able to do that, especially in the working world. And, when we meet new people, how would we describe ourselves as we're having those conversations? But here's the problem, that we actually use those labels to define who we are. We think that whatever those labels are, those become part of our identity. But the truth is, those labels simply just explain something about you. They will never define you. So labels are great. They explain something about you, but they'll never define you. And here's why that's really, really important, because there's negative labels that we all have. Either other people have given them to us, or we've given them to ourselves, and they're just not true about us. They've mislabeled us. And when we take those labels and define ourselves by them, that can cause havoc. That can cause so much pain and hurt in our lives and the lives of others that we're looking to serve on a regular basis. And it doesn't need to be like that, because labels simply explain something about you. So I have, blondish gray hair. I have a beard. Those are labels that explain something about me, right? Same with you. So I just want you to make sure, as we move forward and as, words come up as we are exploring this together to figure out what your purpose is and uncover that, just know that labels simply just explain something about you. And there's labels that help you and there's labels that hinder you. And as you start to see that and understand that, you get into this position where you're able to let those labels that aren't helping you just go, because they're not an accurate description of who you are. The truth is that who you are is because of why you're here, who you are is because of your purpose, that you need to be this particular person. You've been created to be this particular person. You know, God's made you this particular way in order to be able to fulfill on the purpose that he's calling you to fulfill. So that's key. As we walk through this, you're going to see that. And I'm going to help you through this framework, give you some insight and some wisdom on how to figure out, well, who are you really? Okay? Perfect. Well, let's jump into clarifying your purpose. The first thing I want you to know is there is an enemy in this conversation. The enemy is doubt. So as we walk through this conversation and you find yourself doubting, just push that aside. Doubt is very different than uncertainty. You could be uncertain as we walk through this, but doubt, just know there's no good in doubt. There's no benefit of doubt. Doubt is simply trying to get in your way so that you will not understand why you're here and therefore be able to fulfill on it. Okay. So if you find yourself doubting, just set that aside. And just to confirm, doubt is going to come against you. And here's how I have witnessed doubt show up. Who do you think you are? As you start to go through this process and start to understand why you're here, who you are, and where you're meant to be, doubt is going to accuse you of this and use this question to get in your way. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are that you think you can do this? So again, just push those thoughts away. And one of the things that I've noticed in myself and what other people do a lot is we try to counter that question of doubt. Who do you think you are with, well, who do you think you are? And we step into this place of arrogance as a defense. And again, that's going to get in your way because that's going to stop your ability to be able to actually look at this objectively and really, ascertain, well, why am I here and who am I actually? So doubt and arrogance, just leave those aside. We don't need them right now. And I would challenge you, you never need them because they just get in your way and they're not here to help you. We use them as a defense mechanism for sure, but they're not needed. They don't actually serve any purpose other than getting in your way. And that's not what we want. Everything I'm going to share with you today comes out of what we call the purpose framework. So this core framework, these lies that I'm sharing with you, this is all the stuff that we teach within the purpose framework. So I'm going to share that as we go along so that you have a really good understanding of what this framework all entails. And so we're going to focus on the first step, which is clarifying your purpose. So let's do that. Let's clarify your purpose. And in doing so, we're going to transform your life. And that's a promise. All right. Why do this now? Why clarify your purpose now? And here's why that's important. Because it's going to set this whole conversation in context for you so that as we work through it, as you come back to it and take a look at that, this is why you're doing it now. And that's really, really important to note because there's a reason why you're here in this conversation, in this live stream right now. So just take a note of that. All right. Why clarify your purpose now? Awesome. And why do you want to fulfill your purpose now? Why do you want to fulfill your purpose? So why clarify it and why fulfill it? Okay. Those are two key questions that you need to answer. And whatever you come up with is fine right now. And that's going to change over time. Right? It's going to get deeper and deeper the more you ask these questions, because you're going to get more and more insight on why this is actually really important to do this now and continue to do it as you walk through the rest of your life, be it as a person, as a family, as a company, as a community, and as a country. Awesome. So let's jump into the core framework now. So as I shared, there is one need that you recognize in others that shows up in many different ways. So the first thing we want to do then is clarify, well, what is that one need? And we want to get it down to one single word. Excuse me, one single word. And the key in this is that you don't want to edit. So whatever words come, just start writing them down in your workbook. What need do you recognize in others in a word? So it's going to be things like purpose and vision and truth, compassion, understanding, wisdom, joy, things like that. What need do you recognize in others? And as you dig down through this, so imagine that pen or, the keyboard that you're typing on, imagine that's like a shovel. And we are going to dig down through all those words until you hit on the one word that sums up the need that you recognize in everyone that you interact with on a daily basis. So this is going to be people that you've known in your past. This is going to be people that are currently in your life. This is going to be, people in your future life. What need do you recognize in others? So just look out at the relationships that you have. What need do you recognize in those people in a word? And it's going to be common to all of them. Again, purpose, wisdom, truth, trust, compassion, understanding, joy, things like that. Inspiration. What need do you recognize in them? They have a need to be valued. What need do you recognize? What need do you recognize in others? All right. And you want to get that down to one word. So if a phrase comes like, I'll give you an example. As I was digging through this, 19 years ago, when I asked myself that question, the phrase that came to me was, well, people just need a clear sense of purpose. So then I just brought that down to a word of purpose. Okay. So if a phrase comes, or maybe a whole story is going to come, you're going to have this whole thought process of going through and, analyzing, use cases, but, in experiences that you've had with people where, you've interacted with them and you have to sort through that. So just know it might start out with an entire story, right? But just get that down to a word. All right. What need do you recognize in a word? Once you've done that, then the next piece is to figure out, well, what do you bring to answer that need? What do you bring to answer that need? And you want to do that, again, in one word. And don't edit, just make your list. Some of the words that came up on the needed list actually may be the word that you bring, because that's sort of how this process works. We're peeling back the onion, we're digging down, and maybe one of those words that's already on your needed list is going to be the very thing that you bring. And it's going to be things like truth, revelation, wisdom, trust, understanding, compassion. It's going to be in that same realm that you're looking for. If you're looking at this as a company or a community or a country, you're not looking at what you do. You're not looking at the products or the services or the programs or, the structures that you use. We're not looking at that. We're looking at what do you actually bring in a word that those things actually have to fulfill on. Because if what you're doing doesn't actually, I'll give you my example. If I see a need for purpose, I recognize a need for purpose, obviously, in everyone that I encounter. And what I bring is revelation. If everything that I do, if every conversation I have, every question I ask, everything that I do does not bring revelation, then it's the wrong thing to do. It's the same with you. What is that one thing that you bring that helps answer that need? So imagine yourself walking into this room and there's a bunch of people in that room, and you look across the room and you see that person that has the need that you recognize. You walk across the room and you give that person what in a word? That's what we're looking for. All right. So keep digging. Same exercise. Just keep digging until you find the right word that describes what you bring to help answer that need. Wonderful. So what do you bring to answer that need in a word? Then, third question is, why are you here? Why are you here? This is why you showed up, because you want to know, well, why am I actually here? And what am I supposed to be doing with my life? Well, how we answer that question is very, very simple. We take the need and we take the answer. So we take those two words that you've written down, the need you recognize and what you bring to answer that need, and we bring those together to answer the question, why am I here, or why are we here? Wonderful. So I'm going to give you my example. Purpose and revelation, right? The need plus the answer. Now, the key is that one or both of those words is going to be in your answer. At least one is going to be in your answer in some form. So we are going to come up with a 3 to 7 word answer that's going to clearly define why you're here. Okay, 3 to 7 words. So one or both of those words may be in your answer. So here's how I brought those two words together as I worked through this same process 19 years ago. I help reveal your purpose. That's why I'm here, to help reveal your purpose. So as you can see, purpose is in there, and revelation became the verb of reveal. so that one of your words may end up being the verb, because that's key. You need to discern what is the right verb that clearly articulates, the action that I take as I fulfill my purpose. So 3 to 7 words. And the reason that is because of what I said in the beginning, which is we only have 2 seconds to clearly communicate why someone should listen to us. So when someone says, Shayne, what do? I say, I help reveal your purpose. Immediately, based on their response, I know if they're interested in that or not. Makes sense, right? So that's what we're driving towards, is this 3 to 7 word statement that we're going to uncover, that you're going to uncover as you walk through and bring those one or both of those 2 words together into this statement for yourself. And you're always going to start with I or we, as the case may be. So I personally, we as your family, your company, your community, your country. So I'm going to give you our example here at Servant Development. So we see a need for transformation, and we bring wisdom to help answer that need, which is exactly what I'm doing today. I'm helping reveal your purpose and helping meet this need, as a company, because I'm representing our company too, helping meet that need for transformation where you need it with the wisdom that I have and we have gained over the last, me 52 years and 19 years, in this form of a business. And when we bring those 2 words together, this is what we come to. We transform you. It's just really, really simple. Yours is going to be just like that. It's going to be simple. It's going to be bold. Because remember, doubt's going to say, well, who do you think you are to transform somebody, to help reveal their purpose? Who do you think you are? It's crazy, right? But this is the truth. You're going to come to the truth of why you're here, and doubt is going to try to get in the way of that, because it's going to be a bold statement just like this. All right? So just trust it. Just trust as you walk through. And I'm going to give you some more questions that you can answer so you can really confirm, is this really why I'm here? And if you need some help, we're here. Just reach out to us. We're happy to have this conversation with you and confirm your answers. All right? Because this is a big deal, right? This is big for us, each of us, to determine, why am I here? And therefore, how am I going to align my life and everything that I'm doing to fulfill that purpose and ultimately be able to serve in that purpose? We need to get it right. We need to get the words right. So if you need some help in that, we're here. All right. Next, as I showed, you want to make sure that you have the right verb, right? That's essential, along with the other pieces of this. And if you find yourself using words like by, to, through, or with, just take those out, because that's another part of the conversation. It's another part of your story that we cover in the purpose framework. But right now we are just digging down to really hunker in and go, what are we actually, why are you here? That's 3 to 7 words. So if you find yourself using by, to, through, with, just take those out, and we will cover those in another step. Wonderful. And then lastly, you want to use you or a variation of you if it makes sense in your statement. And you want to avoid words like people or others. And here's why that's important. It's pretty obvious. But if I say to you, I help reveal people's purpose, that gives you an out, as opposed to me saying, I help reveal your purpose. Very, very different. That makes it personal. It makes it intimate. It makes it, in the moment and present as I'm standing with you and we're chatting. I help reveal your purpose. That's right here. That's right now. Now, you can not want my help to do that. And it'll be the same for you. There are people that don't want your help because they don't recognize they have that need, or they don't want to deal with that need, at that particular moment. But the truth is, it's very personal and very immediate and very in the moment and present with them. But when we use words like people or others or their, I help people reveal their purpose. That's third party. People can step away from that and not actually be drawn into that conversation where they actually need to be. All right. So use a version of you. You may not need you in your statement, but if you do, then use a version of you or your, along those lines. Perfect. So why are you here? Bring those 2 words together. One or both of those words is going to be in your 3 to 7 word statement. Awesome. And again, if you need some help, just reach out. We're here. Here's the two questions I want to give you to be able to confirm whether this is your purpose or not. Okay. So once you come up with the statement, so in my case, I help reveal your purpose. Is that what you're supposed to be doing when you're on your game? When you know you're in that zone and when you're on your game, does that statement sum up what you're supposed to be doing? Yes or no? Okay. If no, just circle back, rework it, and uncover. Just keep digging. The answer is there. This whole sort of experience, I often use this metaphor, this analogy. As you walk through this, this is sort of what it's going to feel like, is that you're standing in front of this huge swamp, and the goal is to get across the swamp to the dry land on the other side. But the swamp is wet and mucky and sticky, and you can get stuck in there. So just know that that's the experience, and imagine that I'm on the other side, not because I have the answer, but I'm on the other side, and because I'm a man of faith, God's standing there, guiding both of us. But throw out, I throw out this big yellow nylon rope to you, and you're going to use that yellow nylon rope to walk yourself across this swamp. That yellow nylon rope is the question: why am I here, or why are we here? Use that question every time you get stuck, and just take another step. And as you take a step and take a step and take a step, eventually you're going to be on dry land and go, yeah, this actually sums up why I'm here. This sums up exactly why we're here and everything that we're about. Okay? Awesome. So I just wanted to share that with you, because sometimes it can feel a bit sticky and wet and muddy, and you get stuck and maybe start to spin around in the swamp, or there's alligators, or, whatever one's imagination goes to. Just keep stepping forward, answering that question. Why am I here? Why are we here? And you will get across. I promise. If you're committed to getting across that swamp, you will get across. All right. Next, does it actually answer the need that you recognize? So does me helping reveal your purpose actually answer your need for purpose? Absolutely. If you want that help and you feel you need that help, it's absolutely going to help you. Okay. And then I can make sure on the other side going, what am I doing to help that process? And if what I'm doing isn't answering the need, then I just shift that, right? As I shared already. So does this purpose statement actually, if you do that thing in their life, if I help reveal your purpose, if we transform you, does that actually help you meet that need in their life? Does it meet your need for purpose? If I do that, yes. Does it meet your need for transformation? If we do that, if we transform you, absolutely, in whatever area that you need that in relation to fulfilling your purpose. Wonderful. So if it's yes, you got it. If it's no, just circle back around. Just means you're not out of the swamp yet. All right. Wonderful. Here's the amazing thing about this. Out of all the people, the companies, the families, and the few communities that we've done, no one has ever, ever, ever said the same 3 to 7 words to define their purpose. Ever. No two have been the same. So your statement, as you come to it, and it gets solidified, and you are confident, it brings courage and certainty to your life. Trust that no one else on this planet, or anyone that has been on this planet, has that purpose. You are made for a very unique purpose. You are fearfully and wonderfully made, the Bible says. That is your purpose. Trust in that. And again, if you're not trusting in it, just reach out. We are here to help you. We've been doing this for 19 years, and we have 100% track record on helping others dig through this where they get to a point to go, yes, this is exactly why I'm here. This is what I've always been about in my whole life. Now I just have the language for it. It's pretty incredible. Okay. So just keep digging and know that no two have ever been the same. And I'm trusting that that's going to be that way, for the rest of my life and for the rest of the life of the company and for, the rest of history, that we are all fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful. All right. Next, I want to touch on this, that there's a life cycle to fulfilling your purpose. Hey, you're going to go through 5 key stages, and I want to lay those out for you very, very quickly. So the first, the first stage that you're going to go through. So once you understand why you're here, all of us get hit with this, I won't be able to do that. I won't be able to help reveal your purpose. We won't be able to help transform you. Well, why is that? Well, there's lots of reasons why, but all of them you can get over, because all that's happening there is doubt is hitting you and hitting you hard. Doubt is trying to tell you that you will not be able to do this. Who do you think you are? Okay. So just know that that's going to be a stage that you're going to go through. And realistically, close to the beginning of you figuring out why you're here. Right. So just, again, this is a cycle. So we're going to move past I won't. And again, in the purpose framework, we give you the tools to be able to move past this with efficiency so that you don't get stuck there. Then we get to this place of I can't. Okay, so I can move forward, but I can't get the stuff that I need to be able to do it. The whole point of doubt is to try to drive you back to I won't. But this whole thing moves in a clockwise rotation around this life cycle. Okay, so and I'm not saying that it actually moves in a clockwise rotation, but in terms of the diagram and for the use of explanation, we're moving clockwise around, obviously, as you can see. And there's going to be lies that you believe that you can't actually fulfill in your purpose, but know that those are lies, and there's truths that counter that, again, that we teach as we go through the purpose framework. And then ultimately you get to this place where you're like, okay, I can actually do this. I can actually help reveal your purpose. I've moved through I won't, I moved through I can't, and I'm standing in I can. In that, you have a decision. You can go back towards I can't because of, whatever, you have a conversation with somebody, they didn't want your help. Okay, clearly I can't do this, so I won't do this. But that's a lie. You can do it. It's just that person did not want your help in that particular moment, which is totally fine, which we're going to get to in just a little bit in this conversation. So I can, then I will. So you have this constant battle between I will and I can't as you stand and I can. I'm encouraging you to step towards I will. And again, in the purpose framework, we cover and give you the tools that you need to actually move towards I will and avoid stepping towards I can't and I won't. And if you find yourself in I won't and I can't, what to do about it and how to get onto the other side of the circle into I will, and then ultimately I am. I am actually fulfilling my purpose in the life of this person that's standing right in front of me, and this is going amazing. Their life is transforming. My life is transforming. That's the process, and it's cyclical. So as you stand in I am, you eventually move towards I won't, but it's in the positive now. Because you are actually fulfilling your purpose, there's things that you won't do anymore, that you can't do, so that you can, will, and are fulfilling your purpose on a regular basis. It's pretty cool. So just know that we started I won't, and we return to I won't, but as it flips around for the first time, you realize, wow, I won't do this anymore. I won't be able to do this if I'm going to continue to have this incredible transforming experience in life, helping others as you fulfill your purpose and answer that need in their life. There's just things you won't do anymore. And you start to be able to shed those things that are holding you back, those labels, as I showed before, that are holding you back. And you can't actually hold on to these things anymore because they're getting in your way, so that you can, you will, and you are actually fulfilling your purpose everywhere you are. Okay. That's the life cycle that you can expect to go through. And that's the cyclical pattern that you can expect to happen. Awesome. Again, if you have any more questions about that, happy to chat. So again, don't forget that doubt is the enemy. Doubt is around every single corner and will not leave you alone in this process. Okay. Know that doubt is always there, different than uncertainty. It's okay to be uncertain. You're just not certain about what the next step is. You're not certain about who to talk to. That's not doubt. Know that the person is going to come that's going to need your help. Okay. And that's what we're going to explore right now. Uncovering your opportunities. Because now that you know why you're here, you know and can pinpoint where you are in that life cycle of fulfilling your purpose. And again, you're going to touch those points multiple times throughout your life. You could go through those in seconds, right? The next piece is, well, how do I know where I'm actually I'm actually meant to be, so that then I can figure out, well, what am I supposed to be doing while I'm there? So I want to define what an opportunity is in terms of fulfilling your purpose. An opportunity is everywhere that you are both needed and wanted. An opportunity is everywhere that you're needed and wanted. So there's people in your life that need you but don't want you, right? There's people that want you but don't need you at this particular moment. Those are not opportunities. They may be, but right now in this moment, in that relationship, that's not an opportunity for you to step in and help answer that need, because they either don't recognize they have the need or they don't want your help, which is totally fine. If you push in those moments, you're going to cause harm, right? The result is you're going to clearly see, okay, I can't do this and I won't do this. And you'll end up in this nightmare stage of just stuck going, okay, I won't be able to do this. And it doesn't need to be like that. All that means that's happening is that you're just not in an opportunity. You're not standing where you're needed and wanted, uncompromised in who you are. Okay. So be where you're needed and wanted. And again, we dig into that in the purpose framework to help you really understand, well, where am I actually needed and wanted, and where am I needed and wanted the most? And how do I prioritize the opportunities between good, great, and right opportunities as we go through that? So just on that, good isn't great. We all know that. Great isn't right, but right is always good and great. So the challenge and the goal is to always be standing in right opportunities and not be distracted by good and great things. So I'm challenging you and I'm encouraging you, you don't need to settle for good and great. There is right out there. There are fewer, but the blessing and the reward and the richness of that experience so outweighs good and great. Strive for right. And as you look at where you're needed and wanted, you'll be able to see where it's good. Some of that is even great, but where are the right places for you to be? And the right places for you to be are everywhere that you're needed and wanted and don't have to compromise on who you are. And again, we dig into that in the purpose framework, but just look at the opportunities, look at the things that you do in your life right now. Which ones will you define as good and great? And look at it from this perspective. In some way, you're having to compromise who you are in that relationship, which makes it either good or great. And then there's places where you're completely compromised, and those are distractions, hands down. But good and great are distractions of right. So where are you compromised in those good and great relationships? Doesn't mean you have to leave those relationships. It just means you have to understand where you're compromising and why you're compromising there. And ultimately it comes down to the simple thing is they don't need or want you at the same level as someone that is standing in a rightful opportunity would, right? In some way they're asking, can you just leave that part of yourself out? That's good and great. It's kind of crazy when you look at it like that, but right, there's no compromise at all. You can totally be who you are. The other person can completely be who they are. And together you can help each other with the need that you're there to meet in each other's life. It's astounding. I mean, imagine a marriage that's like that, right? Imagine a friendship that's like that. Imagine a work relationship, your relationship to your company, or your company's relationship to everyone that works at that company, everyone in that community, your neighbors. Imagine that. That's what I'm talking about, that there's right opportunities to step in. And sometimes they're very, very small, but they're so incredible that there's nothing more to want. And so if you can just step into someone's life in a right way in just a little area, that's going to grow. That's going to grow over time. And the blessing and the reward, just the incredible feeling of that transformative process and that transformative relationship and the transformation that happens in that, you just want more and more. And so there's things that you won't do, that you can't do, so that you can, you will, and you are fulfilling your purpose. Okay, so that's how this works. So we have one purpose. We have many opportunities and very specific callings. So a calling is everywhere there's a right opportunity. That's where you're being called to go because it's right. And we settle for good and great in the many opportunities part, right? So just know, one purpose in very specific callings, that's the goal. Awesome. So be where you are needed and wanted, uncompromised. That's what I'm calling you to. So once you figure out your purpose, be where you're needed and wanted, uncompromised in who you are. And as you understand why you're here, you're going to start to see who you really are. And again, we cover that in the framework to give you some tools to dig deep into that, to figure out who am I really and who have I been created to be? Who do I need to be in order to be able to fulfill on this purpose? And what can I let go of that actually is clearly not me and who I need to be? Okay, awesome. Then lastly, I want to share this with you. The need that you recognize in others causes a problem that needs to be solved. And this is a very unique problem that you help solve in someone's life. And here's how you get that. Answer this question. What is the counterfeit of the need that you recognize? What's the thing that people go for instead of doing the work to get the need answered? So I'm going to give you a couple examples to help you along here. Let's use purpose as an example. So purpose is the need. As I dug into that and went, what is the counterfeit of the need for purpose? I realized it's reasons. We as people can make up a reason to do anything, but the only reason to do everything is to fulfill your purpose. I'm going to say that again. We can make up a reason to do anything, but the only reason to do anything and everything is actually to fulfill your purpose. So once you understand what your purpose is, you no longer have a reason problem because you know the reason to do everything. And you don't have to make up reasons anymore. It's just, if I engage in this, am I going to be able to fulfill my purpose and help answer that need in this person's life or these people's lives? Yes or no? Am I going to have to compromise who I am to do that? Yes or no? It becomes really that simple. So what is the counterfeit of the need that you recognize? I'll give you another example. My wife, Shelley, she sees a need for joy. The problem that she's here to help solve is optimism. Optimism. Here's the amazing thing. When my wife and I started to do this work, and then we started to realize, oh, wow, like our marriage has a purpose, there's a reason that we're together. And we started to apply all of this stuff to our marriage. I realized, so being a man of faith, I'm just going to share this boldly. I realized that God loved me so much that he gave me a wife to walk beside every single day that helps meet a need for joy, which is a core need that I have that I had no idea that I had. I mean, once that came out and I realized, oh my goodness, there's so much stuff in my life where I've been pursuing happiness instead of joy. And here's my wife who can help me with that. It was incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I realized I have an optimism problem. When I am in panic mode, I jump into this place of optimism and I go, it's going to be okay. Instead of doing the work to get my need for joy met, I would jump to optimism to then, try to make things work. And you just sort of put this veil over my eyes to go, it's going to be okay. Pretty incredible to realize, wow, God loved me so much that he gave me a wife that's going to help me with my core problem to help answer a core need that I have. Pretty amazing. It's going to be like that for you. People are going to come into your life. God's going to bring people into your life that are there to help meet a core need that you have, and you are there to help meet a core need they have and solve a real problem in each other's life. And it's this counterfeit that you're helping to solve. It's the thing that we go for instead. So happiness versus joy, optimism versus joy, reasons versus purpose, transformation versus creating an identity for yourself. We think that if we create an identity for ourselves, we'll have the transformation we need, not realizing that we already have an identity. We don't need to create an identity. It's all in relation to fulfilling our purpose. As we figure out why we're here, we understand the identity that we have in order to be able to fulfill that purpose. So we don't need to create another identity. And here's the amazing thing. You may know this about me, but I used to be a professional actor. And every single day I created an identity. I created identities. That's what I had. That was my job, to create identities. And in that, I thought that I was actually going to figure out who I was, which was crazy to think that, because it was the exact opposite. I never got to find out who I was. I found out who I wasn't because I built a career on playing bad guys, and I didn't want to be like that. I knew that I wasn't created to be like that. I mean, I learned a lot about humanity in that, but I didn't really learn who I was. I learned who I wasn't. So then I was stuck in this place of, well, how do I actually get out of this and understand who I am? It wasn't until I figured out and uncovered, and, God, the Father, actually helped me understand and gave me these questions I'm sharing with you today to be able to dig through this myself 19 years ago and go, why am I actually here? And then it was this unraveling of going, oh, now I know who I am because of why I'm here. And I need to be this man because I can't actually help reveal your purpose if I'm not that guy. That's how all this starts to come together. So what is the counterfeit of the need that you recognize? That's the specific problem. And again, we're here to help dig through this so that you can confirm and get the right answers, because it's really important. Good is not enough. Great is not enough. Right is what you're going for. Right is good and great, right? Then you can start asking questions like this. How does the need show up? You're going to start to see that. As soon as you uncover what the need is, you're going to start to see all the ways that it shows up, and for the rest of your life, be it as you as a person, as a family, as a company, as a community, and as a country. How does that need show up in those that you're here to serve? You're going to see the subtle variances and the subtle nuances. And you're going to be walking down the street and go, wow, that person needs purpose. I never saw it like that before, but that person needs purpose. That person needs joy. They need transformation. Wow, that's really cool. I never saw it like that before. How does that need show up? You're going to start to see patterns and unique expressions of that. Where do they have the problem that you're here to solve? Where is someone creating an identity? Where is somebody making up a reason? Where is somebody being optimistic? What is that problem that you solve that's the counterfeit of that need? Where do they have that problem? That's where you can start to help them. Because at some point, that person's going to realize they have the problem and they're going to want some help to solve it. Then you're there to help them understand, oh, you just need this. You need purpose. You need transformation. You need joy. You need truth, whatever that need is. And it makes that conversation so simple. And you know exactly how and when to step in, because if they don't want help with that, you don't step in. And then what do you have to solve it? Now we get to what? What do you actually have to solve that problem and answer that need in their life? You step in with that. Did it work? Did it not? What needs to change? Super simple. And ultimately, do they actually want your help? Do they want your help? Are you needed and wanted? And are you going to be uncompromised if you step in? If the answer is yes, then step in. If the answer is no to any of that, they're not ready yet. And that can break your heart. I've had moments like that where I've just wept because I'm like, man, I have an answer for you. I can help you with this, but you don't. I remember the first time it happened. I met for coffee with this gentleman. He was having trouble with his business. I said, I can help. We met, and he didn't want my help. And I remember calling my wife, Shelly, on the phone, weeping on the phone, going, I don't understand. I had a sandwich. She was starving. He didn't want it. It rocked my world. And it really was the first time I realized, wow, there are places where I am not needed and wanted yet. And I can't step in there, or I'm forcing someone to buy something or do something that they don't want to do. And that's never going to go well. That's clearly a distraction. Distractions are other people's opportunities. That's another key piece of this. All of your distractions, even good and great opportunities, are other people's opportunities because they're not your right opportunity. So if we're stepping into somebody else's opportunity that's not ours, that's stealing, and that's not going to end well. You're trying to take that person's opportunity away from them, maybe with good intention to help the person standing in front of you, but you're not the right person to help them because they don't need and want your help uncompromised in that moment. That could change. Like 3 seconds from now, it could change. But right now in that moment, they don't need and want your help, and they're asking you to compromise just to help them. But you can't ever do that because it's going to lead to harm. It's going to lead to pain and frustration and struggle more than what they're struggling now. Awesome. And then you'll clearly know, here's how I solve the problem. All right, so here's how I solve the problem of you not knowing your purpose. I help reveal your purpose. And that's why I'm here. Right? You can stop making up reasons, understand why you're here, and then actually step into doing the work to fulfill your purpose. And that ultimately is the purpose framework that I have on the table, and the other frameworks that we have to help transform you. Those are the frameworks that we have developed over the years to help solve that problem. It's going to be the same for you. There's going to be key things that you do and that you have in your toolkit to be able to help somebody meet that need in their life where they need and want that help. And you'd be able to step in uncompromised. All right. So here's how I want to close out. I want to share with you all the steps that we can help you with to help you fulfill your purpose. Now that you know why you're here and have the framework to figure that out. And again, we're here to help if you need that help. That's the purpose framework. And there's 3 overview steps. The first is, 1, we help clarify your purpose. That's what I gave you today. Secondly, we help align all that you do to fulfill that purpose. I've given you some more of those pieces as well, with the opportunities and the problem and the life cycle. And then lastly, we help you understand how do you actually then step out and serve from that purpose. And as you can see, this is cyclical. You clarify your purpose, you know exactly why you're here, then you start to align everything you're doing to fulfill on that, and then you step out to serve from that purpose. You learn a whole bunch in that interaction with the other person that clarifies your purpose at deeper and deeper levels. So your purpose never changes. That's the other thing. Your purpose, once you understand why you're here, it's never going to change. It's why you're here. Same with a family, same with a company, same with a community, same with a country. What does change are your opportunities, what you do within those opportunities, and the goals that you have. But your purpose, your vision, those things never change because they're anchored in why you're here. So as you can see, every time you go around this, you get deeper and deeper clarity, you can align more and more, and you can serve at deeper and deeper levels. So it's very, very cyclical in that way, and it's very, very simple. Here's the 8 steps that the framework is actually included in the framework. So the first is, 1, we clarify your purpose, as I shared. Then the next step is to discern your vision. Once you understand why you're here, then you need to clearly be able to articulate, well, where are you actually bringing people to? Because they need to know. Without vision, people perish. They need to know, if I do this and help get your help to do this, where am I going to end up after that? You need language to figure that out. So we cover that. Also, after that, realize the dream. There's a dream that you are promising someone's going to get to, that you're invited into, everyone's invited into as they get that need answered in their life. What is that? Needs to be articulated. That's the gift that people get by doing the work to help answer the need. As you can tell, I'm pretty passionate about this stuff. This is what I live to do. Next, determine your mission. How do you actually go about fulfilling your purpose? Very simple process to help you understand, well, what are the steps I take to actually help someone answer that need in their life so that you can articulate that and clarify that with somebody else. Because they need to know the steps that they're going to take, or they're not going to walk with you. They're not going to accept your help. Then 5, know your battle. This is a battle. You're in a battle of I won't and I am, right? I can't and I will and I can at the bottom of that. You're in this battle. You got to know your battle. What's drawing you towards I won't and the nightmare, and what's drawing you towards I am, living out the dream, realizing the dream of fulfilling my purpose in everything I'm doing. You got to know that battle, and you have to understand your battle plan so that you can actually be engaged in the battle and not be taken out in the crisis that is going to bring about in the other person's life, or the crisis that they're in. How do you actually help somebody in the crisis that they find themselves to help answer that need in their life? Awesome. That's 5 and 6. Then 7, well, who are you really? Who are you really? Going to give you some tools to help you really clarify who you are in relation to your purpose, using your purpose as an anchor to help you understand who am I, so you don't have to be complacent, be compromised, and conform to anything other than who you are actually created and meant to be, so that you can fulfill your purpose, because we need you to. These needs are real. As you uncover that need, that's a real need in someone's life. They need your help. And when they want your help, if you know who you are and you can step in with certainty and courage and confidence, you're going to be able to help them where they need and want it the most in that moment. What an incredible gift to serve them in that way. That's why this stuff is so important, because some of this stuff is life or death for people. They're making bad decisions because they're caught in this problem, and you can help them solve that problem by helping answering that need in their life. That's real. That's the power of fulfilling your purpose in someone's life. It's not transactional, it's transformative. And then lastly, how do you actually serve from that purpose, as I shared? So step 2 to 7 is aligning everything that you do to fulfill your purpose. And then 1 and 8 are on either side of that. Perfect. So remember this. Your purpose is why, not a what. Your purpose is why you're here, not what you do. But what you do has to align with why you're here, or you're going to be devalued. You're not going to have the impact that you desire to have. You're not going to be able to serve where you long to serve as effectively. 2, you meet one need that shows up in many different ways. Okay, you're going to see that as you uncover the need. You're going to start to see those patterns. You're going to start to see that need everywhere you go. Next, who you are is because of why you're here. Who you are is because of why you're here. Awesome. So, at the end of the day, are you willing to lay down the identity that you have right now? Some of it is going to stick. Some of it you can let go of. Once you're willing to lay that down and go, okay, why am I actually here? And who do I actually need to be? And where am I truly meant to be? Then I promise you, you will get the transformation you need to be where you're needed and wanted the most, uncompromised, to fulfill your purpose so that you can serve everywhere that you're being called to serve. Okay? Awesome. So I want to share with you the few options that you have if you want to dig deeper into this and confirm your answers along the way so that you can actually fulfill your purpose with us. Not with us, but fulfill your purpose with our help to get you going and get you the foundation that you need so that you can live this out everywhere you are. This applies to you as an individual, as I said, as a family, as a company, as a community, and even as a country. So we have the servant community. You can find that at servant.tools, and really simply, it gives you all access. It's our online platform. It gives you access to all the frameworks that we have online. They're on demand. We do live workshops where we dig into each of the pieces of the framework. And we also have exclusive content that's for members only, which is basically like our master classes where, we dig into topics. We spend that time with you in those calls to be able to actually get the answers that you need. So that's the Servant Community, our online platform. And that's $275 Canadian if you want to go through that. It's for the year. So it renews once a year. All the content that we add content on a regular basis, is all included in that one package. All right. Then we also have what we call the Purpose Accelerator. And basically this, you can find that at Purpose Mastermind, servant.tools Purpose Mastermind. That is our 8-week accelerator in a small group setting of 8 to 10 people where we do this as a group and we dig in and we go through the purpose framework together. So sometimes, sometimes the online portal is enough where you're going at your own pace, but there may be times when you're like, you know what, I need to actually do this in a group to actually have, the incentive, the motivation and the accountability to actually finish this out and get my questions answered as we walk through this together as a small group, and actually learn from others and meet others who are purpose-minded, who, are there to meet real needs in your life too, and you in their life. So it's really an opportunity to walk in community with one another, and then be exposed to the larger community at the same time, because in this Purpose Accelerator, you also get full access for the year to the servant community. So you get the best of both worlds there. So you get all the resources, you get direct support, and you get full access. And we walk through the purpose framework over 8 weeks, meeting once a week. And then, you have homework in between as you work through the course. And then we come together and work on that material together so that you can confirm your answers there. And if you want to go through that as a group, it's $9.97. Again, this is Canadian funds. If you want to do that privately, one-on-one with us, then that's $2,500 for the exact same thing over 8 weeks. And it's just you and us walking through that together. Awesome. Well, If you don't have any questions here, please, if questions come up, please feel free to reach out to us, servant.tools. You can connect with us right there on the website. Maybe I'll bring that up just once. Oh, you can see it right there on the screen, servant.tools. Just reach out to us through the website. And yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity to actually put these tools in your hands and start you on the path to finding out why you're here, where you're meant to be, and ultimately what you're meant to be doing, uncompromised in who you are. All right. Thanks for the time. And please reach out if you need some help. Bye for now.